The word that I keep coming back to is uplifting. I have this conviction based on my lived experience that uplifting people or the planet doesn't have to be draining. It can actually feel uplifting to the person who's making that impact.
Welcome to another episode of Quick Reflex. I'm Tamerri, Ater. I'm the Director of Communication and Engagement at Uplifting Capital, here with our CEO and founder, Toussaint Bailey. And we're here to discuss another amazing episode with Jordan, founder of Catalyst Housing Group. Hope you guys checked it out. If you haven't, please go subscribe to our podcast, Uplifting Conversations, and check it out.
That's a partial introduction. So I got to give a shout out. Tamerri is also an entrepreneur in other areas. So Gift of the Nile. And then Afro Fashionista is another business, and she just bounced back and is doing readings again, doing stuff again for Afro Fashionista. She had an amazing post yesterday on IG announcing her return that Denise and me, my wife and me, were giggling at this morning. And so check Tamerri out on all of those fronts, in addition to, her Uplifting Capital work.
Thanks for the plug.
I know, I was dying.
Back. But I love this episode. I think Jordan is such an example of taking the gifts that you have, the resources you have, doing what you know to make change. And if you haven't listened to the episode, basically he's using his background in real estate. He endowed a program through UC Davis where he went to school and played basketball to help Black student athletes get into the real estate investing world. And I love that he mentioned using the skills that they have, like the competitive nature, hard work ethic, and how those skills are transferable to what he does. Like, that's brilliant. And I really feel like he's just walking the talk and making change, trying to correct a problem that is just so rooted, it's just so systemic, right? But just trying to close the housing gap. Like, I think fixing the problem, like you mentioned too, using the problem to fix the problem is what he's doing. And I think that's amazing.
Whew, let me tell you about Jordan Moss. I could go, we could do a whole full-length podcast about Jordan, and then about like what he's doing in housing. But so first, I'll start with Jordan, because he is absolutely like what he did with Project Destin at UC Davis, and like his whole thing about, I don't want to post something and like project that I care. Like, it was deeply important to me to do something that was lasting. And so they sponsored that first program, but he glanced over real quick that he has endowed that program at UC Davis. So it's specifically for Black student athletes, and it's a program that's introducing them to commercial real estate, and it'll show up every year from here on out, because he cared enough to do that. And then the fact that he hired Darius through that program, that completely reflects who he is and what he's been. And so he talked about some of the work of that Catalyst Impact Fund. But beyond that, when Jordan and I became friends, I don't know, a few last year, maybe now we're going back a couple years. No, last year, when he found out the mission of Uplifting Capital, and we spent some time getting to know each other, and we were fast friends. Like, he made it his business to make sure that this thing went. And so, a good chunk of our seed round capital has either been through Jordan or through Jordan's introductions. Like, the number of introductions, the number of people who he's put me in to make us a success at Uplifting, and just like, that's his heart. Like, that's who he is. Like, when he talks about wanting to have an impact, like he then turns around and puts direct action to that. And I think he seems to get deep fulfillment. It's important to him. And so he's just been an incredible friend, and then just change agent, and is brilliant. So I love how he breaks down the housing problem, connects it to the wealth gap. So like, that was something that stuck with me, was what he said. One of the things that's so complex about the housing crisis is it's multiple crises within a crisis. He's like, and we talk about different levers to change all the time. He's like, you can't find a way to invest. At least he hasn't found a way to invest in curing homelessness. You need government for that, and we need like real solutions. Like he has this capital. You talk about capital A affordable housing, where he started, and there's one set of solutions for that involves tax credits and all these other things. And then now he's doing this essential housing, which has another set of solutions and another kind of investment. And so just looking at the complexity of that and his command over all those different areas of the problem is super, super impressive. And it just makes me want to think about things in a more kind of nuanced way when it comes to that housing problem.
Yeah.
Then he's a historian on the connection between the housing gap and the racial wealth gap, and like the fact that he's brought those two things directly together. And now his next sort of thing is kind of solving for the racial wealth gap through the housing gap, because all the redlining, all the exclusionary zoning, all the like exclusionary lending practices and kind of bias lending practices leading to this different levels of ownership and housing. And the way that most people kind of own their net worth, like, you know, everyday people, is through housing. And so look at what was done for housing ownership. There's a direct connection to that in the wealth gap. And so I love that he's attacking that problem through that. It's like, I'm the biggest Jordan Moss fan there is.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think, one of the best ways to build wealth is through real estate. And if you can't even get in the game because of all this history and, you know, just being so behind, like someone has to start to work and to tackle that. And I feel like he's doing that. And I'm sure there's other people, but I love that we got him to get on here and talk about that. That's pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And his board, you know, this is not his advisory board is for Catalyst Housing, is a group of superstars. I got a chance to spend some time with them, you know, present company included. So he has, like, you know, tons of superstars on there. He has this guy from Uplifting Capital, let me tell you. Now, but like Cedric Bobo from Project Destin, like tons of other just ridiculously impressive folks. And so, he's put himself around impressive people. He's an impressive person. I was honored to have him on. I love going back to listen to it again in preparation for this. I'm like, whoo, some good stuff in here.
Very genuine person. Yep. It comes across.
Yeah, awesome. I hope people enjoy it as much as we did.
Yeah. All right, we got some more fire coming up.
Who's do you know, who do we have?
I think Khalil, either Khalil or the ladies from choir.
Oh, Sonia and Liv, those are my folks. I Liv tweeted something yesterday that we were in her what is it, her Spotify Wrapped. We're in the top 5.
Oh, I love that.
I love Liv. Yeah. Yeah, we're number 4. We're number 4.
That's so cool, especially since we just got in this thing.
I know. And I told her when that choir episode drops, we're gonna be in everybody's number 1.
Right? I love it. That's amazing. Yeah. Woo-hoo.
All right. So looking forward to those. We'll figure out which goes next. But yeah, good times.
All righty. See you later.
See you.